Welcome to Red Story. Subscribe and watch news stories every day. My name is James Connors. I'm 38, living just outside Denver, Colorado, and modest home with my wife, Sabrina. We've been married for 9 years. People around us used to say we were a perfect match, both career-driven yet relaxed enough to enjoy the little things. We don't have kids, though we talked about starting a family eventually. On the surface, our life seemed stable content. But I guess no one can predict how illusions will crash down until it's too late. It was a Tuesday evening when Sabrina mentioned she had to travel to Texas for some sort of design expo. She works as a graphic designer at a mid-sized firm downtown, so conferences and expos aren't unusual for her. She dropped the news casually while we were cleaning up dinner. Sabrina, stacking dishes. Oh, by the way, honey, I'll be gone next week from Wednesday to Sunday. The expo in Dallas got approved last minute. Me, raising eyebrows. Dallas Hub. That's quick. I didn't hear you mention it before. She shrugged, her expression composed. Yeah, it was a spur-of-the-moment chance. My boss insisted we have a presence there. Then she flashed me a reassuring smile. Don't worry, I'll bring you something nice from Texas. I nodded, not suspecting a thing. We had no reason to doubt each other. Sabrina had traveled for work before. At the time, it didn't even cross my mind to question it. The following week, she left early Wednesday morning, suitcase in hand. Take care, James, she said, giving me a quick hug at the front door. I might not text much if the expo's hectic, but I'll call whenever I can. I remember telling her have fun in Dallas, and she just smiled a bit oddly, then walked out. Little did I know she was heading nowhere near Texas. That week felt strange. Sabrina didn't call or text as frequently as she normally did on business trips. She usually sent updates, pictures of her booth or the city. This time I got maybe 2 text messages the entire first 2 days. Crazy busy here, talk soon. And conference is big, exhausted. Love you. She never spelled out details, never shared photos. A flicker of suspicion hit me on Friday. At midday, I tried FaceTiming her. No response. Then, an hour later, she wrote, sorry, was in a meeting, phone locked in a case. That was plausible, but felt off. I'd rationalized maybe the expo had strict protocols, or she was just stressed. I told myself not to be paranoid. Sunday evening, she finally came home, walking in with a rolling suitcase. She wore sunglasses inside. An odd choice, but I'd assumed she was just tired. Her skin looked tan, more than you'd get from a Dallas expo. But maybe Texas was warm, I reasoned. She gave me a brief hug, said, I'm wiped out, then retreated to shower. She smelled faintly of coconut lotion, which, ironically, made me think of beaches. I half joked with her that she smelled like Hawaii, but she just gave a brief laugh and changed the subject. Life returned to normal for a few days, except I noticed Sabrina seemed oddly distant, or perhaps glowing with a secret. Our routine resumed. I'd handle morning coffee. She'd rush off to her design job. We'd reconvene at dinner. But sometimes I caught her humming happily as she scrolled her phone. She claimed it was client updates. I let it slide. One evening, I stumbled across a flight itinerary in the trash while tidying up. It read, Honolulu to Denver, 6 o'clock p.m. My heart lurched. Honolulu? That was definitely not Dallas. I froze, reading it twice. The date matched the Sunday she returned. I confronted her that night. Me, holding the paper, voice tense. Sabrina, what's this? A flight from Honolulu? I thought you were in Dallas. Her face paled. For a second, she looked trapped. Then she snatched the paper from my hand. Where'd you get this? It's probably a misprint or something. She tried to laugh it off. Her eyes were wild. Me. Don't lie to me. Did you go to Hawaii instead of Texas? She stammered. It was a side trip, my coworker. Just a short thing. I didn't tell you because it was a last-minute extension. I had a friend in Hawaii. I'm sorry if it looks suspicious. Me? A side trip? During a supposed Dallas expo. Sabrina, you're not making sense. She tried to spin some story about a canceled expo day that allowed a quick flight to Hawaii, but everything she said contradicted itself. My stomach churned with the realization that she was deeply lying about something. I demanded the truth. Me. Stop making up stories. Who were you with? Why Hawaii? She just glared, tears threatening, and said, I'm too tired for this. I'll explain later. Then stormed off to bed, leaving me with a million questions and no answers. 2 days later, I decided I needed clarity. Sabrina refused to elaborate beyond. I just needed a break. Okay. And the tension in the house was unbearable. So I took an afternoon off work heading to her design firm. My plan was simple: pick her up for dinner, maybe catch her off guard. I wanted to see if her coworkers actually mentioned that expo in Dallas. The minute I walked into the sleek reception area, I saw her colleague Tina, whom I'd met once at a company picnic. Me, friendly smile. Hey, Tina, is Sabrina around? Thought I'd surprise her, maybe take her out for a bite. Tina smiled back. Oh, that's sweet. Let me see if she's free. While tapping her phone, she remarked, glad you got her out of the office. She's been piling up extra tasks since she came back from. Well, that's if that event even happened. I frowned. What do you mean? Tina shrugged. All I know is that the Design Expo in Texas was canceled because of the pandemic restrictions. None of us traveled. Our boss was complaining we lost that chance, but apparently it was off for months. Surprised Sabrina didn't mention that. She paused, reading my expression. I guess maybe she went for a personal reason, but it sure wasn't a company event. A chill slid down my spine, so there was no expo at all. She had lied from the get-go. Tina kept chattering, oblivious to the bombshell she just dropped. I'll let Sabrina know you're here, she said, picking up the phone. I found myself stepping back. Actually, I'll wait for her by the car. Just tell her I'm outside. I waited in the parking lot, leaning against my Satan, heart pounding. Within minutes, Sabrina emerged from the revolving doors, face taut with worry. She approached me warily. Hey, you should have texted, she said, trying to sound light. Me, quietly. We need to talk. Let's go for a drive. Now. She swallowed, nodded, and climbed into the passenger seat. As I drove off the lot, I said, so about that Texas Expo. She shifted uncomfortably. I told you it was a partial trip. Me, don't. Tina said it was canceled. The entire company knows. So you never went to Texas. You went to Hawaii, right? She stared out the window, tears forming. Yes, I went to Hawaii. Me. With who? Her silence was damning. Then quietly she confessed, Blake. He's someone I've known for a while. He used to be in my college circle. He said he had this crazy idea to go to Hawaii for a few days. I don't know what I was thinking. My head swam. So you left me, your kids, paying for some random fling in Honolulu while lying about a business trip? She nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. He's not random. Well, maybe it was some fling, but I paid for everything. He was short on money. I wanted an escape. I thought it'd help me see if I was truly missing something in life. Me, outraged. You used our joint finances to buy plane tickets for you and your boyfriend. She flinched at the word boyfriend. It only lasted that trip, she said. He left right after. I realized how stupid it was, how it meant nothing. I ended it, but I was scared to tell you or anyone. I clenched the steering wheel, knuckles white. All year you pretended everything was fine. Meanwhile, you spent who knows how much money on a Hawaiian vacation with some jerk. This is betrayal on so many levels. Does he even have a job? She shook her head, eyes averted. He's unemployed right now. He's the kind of guy who floats around. I guess I pitied him. Doesn't matter. It's over, James, I swear. Me? I believed your lies about Texas. You told me you were anxious about a pandemic expo. Meanwhile, you were sipping cocktails on a beach with this worthless user. She broke down in sobs. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I regret it every day. I needed something. I felt neglected, and he offered me excitement. I pulled the car over on a side street, heart racing. Sabrina, you don't get to justify it by blaming me for not giving you enough excitement. You cheated. You lied about everything, used our money, and risked our family. Me stealing myself. I can't stay in this marriage. We're done. She sobbed, clinging to my arm. No, please. The kids, they can't lose their stable home. Don't punish me like this. I'll do anything to fix it. But I was beyond reconciling. Her deceit was too layered, her manipulations too big. No, you shattered my trust. I refused to live a lie. She tried to appease me, swearing she'd repay every cent of that Hawaii trip, that she'd go to therapy, that she'd never speak to him again. But none of it changed the fact she'd slept with him on a secret trip. I insisted on meeting that Blake, if only to confirm what a lowlife he was. I found him on social media. Sabrina had never quite blocked him. We had a short, tense call, and he agreed to meet me at a cafe. I half expected him to be smooth or manipulative. Instead, he turned out to be a disheveled, unemployed drifter living off different women's resources. He tried to charm me, claiming Sabrina wasn't happy with you and that it was just a fling, no big deal. His smug tone pushed me over the edge. Blake, smirking. Come on, man, don't blow a gasket. She invited me. I just went along for the ride. Me glaring. You used her, you let her pay for everything, and you think it's cool. That's my family's money. He shrugged nonchalantly. Look, it's not my fault if she wanted a little excitement. Maybe you should have given her more reason to stay loyal. At that, I lost control. I stood, grabbed him by the collar. He tried to wriggle free. I slapped him hard across the cheek, a crack echoing. He stumbled back, cursing. The cafe barista shot us a look, but I stormed off before a full brawl erupted. My chest heaved with rage, but I felt a grim satisfaction. He was exactly what I'd pictured, a leech. Returning home, I found Sabrina in tears, apparently having guessed I'd confronted Blake. James, please. I'm sorry, she repeated. We can get through this. Me? I spoke to that scumbag. You paid for his entire trip. You took him to Hawaii while pretending to be at a work conference. We can't get through that. I'm filing for divorce. She sobbed, collapsing against the wall, begging me to reconsider. But I was resolved. I engaged a lawyer, started the process. Our children, Kyle, 10, and Mia, 7, were confused since we'd shielded them from the tension. Telling them we were divorcing broke my heart, but I refused to let Sabrina's betrayal remain hidden just for convenience. Over the next few weeks, Sabrina tried everything. Counseling suggestions, big emotional gestures, paying me back part of the trip cost. None of it erased her deception. I told her, I'm sorry it ends like this, but you made your choice. She was forced to pack a few belongings and move in with her sister. The kids spent half the week with me, half with her. The heartbreak was real, but so was my determination that we were beyond repair. It's been several months since the final papers were signed. She's apologized repeatedly, tried to salvage my forgiveness, but trust like that doesn't regrow overnight, especially when someone premeditates a full-blown romantic getaway. I discovered later that the so-called expo in Texas never even existed. Sabrina had just invented it to mislead me. The ease with which she lied still stings. But ironically, I'm healing faster than I expected, finding clarity in the single-father role my kids are adjusting, though they miss having one home. Sabrina and I keep communication limited to co-parenting details. She claims she's cut off contact with Blake, but that's no longer my concern. Some nights, I recall how she returned from that Texas trip with a tropical tan, a secret thrill in her eyes, and I wonder how naive was I not to notice. But regrets don't change the past. What I do know is that illusions can crumble in a moment, and sometimes the people closest to you can stage the biggest betrayals. I stand by my decision because a relationship built on intricate lies and manipulations isn't worth saving. In the end, no matter how sweet the words of apology, no matter how sincere her tears, I can't forget that she turned to a jobless leech, let him ride on our savings, all for some misguided adventure. That's not love. That's not partnership. So here I am, forging a new path as a divorced dad, telling my kids that sometimes grown-ups make big mistakes, and it's not their fault. Telling myself that trusting again might be harder, but I deserve someone who'd never dream of pulling such a stunt. This is the story of how one set of plane tickets to Hawaii, sold under the cover of a Texas expo, ended my marriage, a short trip that destroyed a long union. But I'm free now, heartbreak and all, free from illusions, free to build a future grounded in truth, even if it's on my own terms.